Hey crafty friends, this is Jenny from Craft Test Dummies, and today I'm in the studio because we're going to take a look at the Martha Stewart Crafts Marbling Medium. It looks like this. It says it's a multi-surface marbling medium. That's a whole lot of M's if you're paying attention. And it says it's for indoor only. It's water-based, non-toxic, and permanent. Use them with the paint on wood, canvas, paper, glass, ceramic, terracotta, and metal. Combine 1 part of paint to 2 parts marbling medium. Stir slowly, pour into the surface, and tilt. Let dry completely. So if any of you use this stuff, it's pretty new. I got my sample from Shauna at Plaid Crafts. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to flip you guys around, turn you upside down. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and pop this out. And let's just take a quick look at what the glazing medium actually looks like by itself. Ooh, oh, it's super thin. So this is kind of like a thin, heavy cream is exactly what it looks like to me. So it's even off-white, like heavy cream. So this is the part where I speed up the live demo and just give you the voiceover because, of course, this live demo took about 20 minutes and we can get through it in a lot less time. So as you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm mixing up the paint, and the marbling medium effectively thins down the paint without diluting it. So if you just mixed acrylic paint with water, the color itself would get very diluted and very thin. By using the marbling medium, you're actually adding more media without adding more water, so the paint colors stay really vibrant. Now, just a little word about this. I'm not making a whole lot of this marbling medium up actually, but what is happening is that I'm using about a half a container of paint per each color, and you can't just do 1 color. You have to do a minimum of 3 colors, and I'd say really 5 or 6 colors is what makes the effect kind of cool. So just be aware that in this one playtime I used up the entire bottle of the marbling medium and over half of all of my paints. So as you can see, I started off by kind of drizzling it on, and I had a live participant in this who's like, you just got to pour it on, just use more and pour it. And she's absolutely right, again, which speaks to the fact that you're going to use up a lot of product in order to get the desired effect. So I have to tell you that during this portion, I was a little underwhelmed. So of course what I needed were more colors. So I'm going to skip ahead to that part. So by the time I added a little bit of black and a little bit of white and some glitter, I was much happier with the way things were looking. I also decided to go with more of a pouring technique in order to get the marbling effect. As you can see, I put this little dish down so that the paint could kind of drip off of the edges and onto the surface. I really think that that is one of the better techniques. It's also super messy. You may want to wear gloves, but make sure you protect your work surface and have something for your finished piece to sit on and let the edges drip off, because that's really the best effect that you're going to get. So I did a couple of canvases, as you see here. I also did a little paper tag. And I have to tell you, I was very happy with that result. As it turns out, the paint that I had was more of a satin, and what I found in the finished result, and I'll show you that at the end, is that everything did have a very satiny or almost flat look. I think for marbling to look really spectacular, it has to be glossy and shiny, so I'm going to add top coats, but again, we'll kind of cover that at the end. But again, in order to get that effect, you really do have to lay on the paint really thick and then be willing to kind of turn it and move it around to achieve the marbling effect. It's also kind of hard to know when it's done. You just have to kind of keep turning and playing with it until you get your desired effect. And it can be anywhere from like a watercolor look to something that actually looks more like a marble or an agate. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and kind of go through my finished ones. These have been drying for about a week, so they're not sticky anymore. When I first did them, it really took about 3 days, and if I laid them on top of each other, the acrylic paint on the backs would kind of stick. So just so you know, acrylic paint, kind of like Mod Podge, is still a little bit sticky even when it's dry. So this one I was actually really impressed. I didn't love it while I was doing it, but now that it's done, I'm like, oh, this is kind of pretty. I also have to tell you, I used a thicker white paint and it didn't dissolve the whole way. You see these little white specks? That's the white paint that didn't fully integrate, but again, I'm kind of okay with it because I think it added a little bit of extra texture. And you can see I have a little bit of glitter paint in here as well. But overall, the effect is very matte. You can see the shine off of the light. I think this would be so much more impressive if it was shiny. And we'll just kind of go through. Here's another one. Really kind of interesting. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do with it. Here's the one I did before I added the white paint. This one definitely looks more organic, like a piece of marble or agate. Here's one of the ones that got stuck because the pieces weren't completely dry, and acrylic paint can be fussy that way. I'm gonna see if I can rescue it somehow, just not sure. So I also tried a couple of non-traditional surfaces. This is a subway tile, and it just so happens that this particular subway tile has a little bit of a crackle texture on it, and you can actually see a little bit of that crackle texture underneath the paint, which I like. It means that it's letting the bottom layer show through instead of covering it up. But this is really, really cool. I think if you covered this with a resin, you could absolutely use this as a trivet or make your own custom backsplash tiles. So, so cool. This is kind of like everything that was left over. I put on this bigger canvas, and then I did a little bit of splattering on top, and I like the little freckly bits. So this would really be so much more well suited to like home decor items. I just didn't have any of those, so I couldn't show you, but at least you had a chance to see like how it turned out. I also did do a glass ornament, and I think it turned out pretty cool on the ornament. Again, I wish it was shiny. And I filled a bezel to make either a piece of jewelry or a charm, and this definitely needs some like top coat or something to really make those swirls pop. And of course, here's that tag that I did, which has more of a watercolor effect because I dipped it in. But I just want to also point out it stays nice and flexible. Acrylic paint is great for this. So you can go ahead and layer this on top, and you know, it's not going to make your paper weird, or it's not going to crack and fall off. Well, there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this overview of the marbling technique from Plaid, and maybe you'll be inspired to try a new product. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment. And as always, have a crafty day.